to Mike, who's going to be the chair. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of Mayor and Council, I'd like to acknowledge acknowledgement of the First Nations. The Mayor and Council wish to acknowledge the town of Fort Smith is located within Treaty 8 territory. Treaty 8 territory also encompasses the traditional homelands of Salt River First Nation, Smith Landing First Nation, and the Indigenous Métis people of Fort Smith. These nations have maintained stewardship of their sacred lands throughout the generations. We honor your knowledge, teachings, traditions, and the land. We are mindful that colonization has not been kind. We respectively recognize our generational histories and commit to strive for unity in the spirit of truth and reconciliation. Okay, now to the agenda. Declaration of financial interest. Seeing none. Next item is delegations. No delegations. Next item, item 4, review. If I could have somebody bring forward a recommendation for the agenda.
I move that I motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Any questions, additions? Seeing none, all in favor of the agenda as presented?
Yes.
Passed unanimously. In the packages included are the minutes of the Community Services Standing Committee meeting of June 11th, 2024. These were reviewed and adopted at the regular council meeting of council on June 18th, 2024. If there's any feedback, questions on this, please make it known at this time. Seeing and hearing none. The next item, it was visions and values. These were included in the package, and I will assume we've all reviewed them again. Next item is, okay, moving along through the agenda. The next item, item 5, is Director's Report. And at this point, I will ask the SAO to speak her mind.
Oh, that's an invitation. So if you had a chance to go through the report, kind of transitioning from our spring to summer. So there's some updated schedules in there that have been shared online and on the website as well, as we change a bit of our programming around. Had a very busy month in all of our departments and focused on things like collaboratively working on events. We've had both instructor-led programs and kind of self-directed programs. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We moved from the 5 days a week in the pool to be open now 6 days a week, and we've been running through all of our swimming programs. We finished up the first session of swimming lessons. We've moved into a second lessons, but I think the biggest success. So in prior years, what our stats showed us is that people would sign up for the swimming lessons, but they weren't necessarily showing up to the lessons. And that completely changed this time around. We had, not only were we fully enrolled, but we almost had full participation in all of the lessons. So I think that that's a huge success to see the uptake from our community in getting back in the pool and getting those swimming skills and making sure our kids are safe. So really, really great to see. And then the other, again, showing us that our increased schedule, our increased programming has had a positive impact. We have increased by over 300 patrons this month in the pool. So that's a big difference. We went from 955 in May to 1,333 in June. So we have folks in our facility again, and couldn't be happier. It's great. Other than that, we were in the library again always kind of running through different programs. We have kind of the tried and true regulars, and then our program coordinator always tries to collaborate with other organizations, bring in new things. So had another kind of busy month in there. So we were able to participate. The other part of the library update that I have has to do with survey results. So being shared in your packages. It's not every single comment that was made on the survey, so it has been summarized. So if you do have questions about seeing more information, I do have more, but there's some graphs to see how folks in our community are using our library, feedback that they have. And then also we're already incorporating the feedback that we received. So helping that, we're using it to help us plan our next programs, seeing where there's interest levels, looking at if there's gaps, and trying to kind of work around all of those. So great to see what our community members had to say about the services that we're offering in this facility. And I'm aiming to do a similar process for the pool and the community and recreation center as a whole in the fall, to kind of repeat this and get a good feeling of what people are looking for recreation in the community. And then, so I wanted to include, if you get to see Shanna Schaefer, very, very talented artist in our community, was able to add a mural into our childcare space. So really thankful that she was able to come and do that. So wanted to share that with everybody. And so the plan is that as children pass through our programs, they'll all get to leave their mark here as well. So a nice addition to the rec center that's personalized with the impact that it's really having on everybody that we get to see. And then with economic and tourism development, the big focus in June was again on events. We had a really busy June for events. It's not always what we see. And the economic development officer and the VIC staff were in the thick of most of it. And the visitor guides, if you haven't had a chance to see them yet, they are printed, they're out there, kind of a different direction than we've taken before. So pick one up, have a look, and I'm always open to feedback. So that's the update for this month.
Thank you, SAO. Any questions for? While I'm waiting for people to formulate their questions, I would like to commend the community services staff. Like the Canada Day event was extremely well attended by, and the people that I did manage to talk to there were quite impressed with the quality of the event and things like that. So just a great shout out to their efforts. Councillor Tuckey.
I too join you in that compliment, and I think everything went very well. It was a great celebration. I think a lot of people are quite happy to be back at Connie Bear Park.
Go ahead, Councillor Crowe.
I was just going to say the same thing that Councillor Courette and Bucky said. Big shout out to the staff from Community Services and the library, and a big shout out to Shanna for that beautiful mural. So good job, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, item 6, advisory boards. The Economic Development Advisory Board. As the council representative, I'll quickly speak to it. We did have a meeting on June 20th, at which the main topic of discussion was recommendations for consideration of the business licensing bylaw. I would ask if administration could circulate an email with the actual recommendations. I didn't see it in the package. So if that could be circulated to the councillors. I think a lot of the recommendations tie into hopefully some of the vision and objectives that will come forward once we complete the community planning and bylaw review, zoning bylaw review. So there's a lot of items there that tie into each other. So we got to make sure that there's some coherence in both of those things. As well, there was a presentation by the Chamber of Commerce. I think it's the first time they've actually done a presentation in at least the last 6 or 7 years to the Economic Development Advisory Board. And we're optimistic that they will continue to be an active participant on the board. I believe they will be submitting a expression of interest for the chamber to have a representative attend our EDAP meetings. So that's about it for that. Any questions? Mayor Daniels.
Yeah, do we have a counselor or something sitting there for the town of Fort Smith on the funding?
Which funding was that be?
That Tavacha funding, please.
No, they have a separate board. One of their members, or their CEO, used to be a member of the board, but she has stepped aside last fall. But as part of that, I think we should also extend an invite to see if ITI would be willing to sit in sort of as almost in an advisory capacity, sort of, not every meeting, but some of the meetings, to let us know what new programs and initiatives that the department is trying to promote. Any other comments, questions regarding advisory boards? Seeing none, the next item on our agenda, item 7, bylaw policy review and developments. There is no items identified. Item 8, administration. We have a briefing note. If I could have somebody move a recommendation regarding the appointment of the returning officer, Margot Harney.
I move that Margot Harney be appointed the returning officer for the 2024 municipal election.
I'll second that.
Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Yes.
Passed unanimously. Next item is item 9, other business. There was no other business identified. Next item is excusing of counselors. Could I get a recommendation for the excusing of counselors from the Community Services Standing Committee meeting?
I move that Councillor Ferguson and Councillor Bissinger be excused. Did he call him? I can't excuse him. Be excused of the Community Services Standing Committee meeting on July 16, 2024.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Crowe. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Yes.
Passed unanimously. Date of next meeting. The next Community Services Standing Committee meeting will be held on August 13th, 2024. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting at 7:17.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Yes.
Passed unanimously.